For they say that now his prince shows him much fondness, and that his sovereign is very concerned with the indignities and humiliations that were cast upon Christian when he became a pilgrim. He will look upon these actions as if they were done to him. The one who listens to you listens to me, and the one who rejects you rejects me, and he who rejects me rejects the one who sent me. Luke chapter 10, verse 16. And this is no surprise, for it was because of the love that Christian had for his prince that he attempted all that occurred during his pilgrimage. I dare say I am glad that's the end of it, for the poor man's sake, for he now has rest from his labor, I said, and he now reaps the benefit of his tears with joy, has moved beyond the gunshot of his enemies, and is out of the reach of them who hate him. Those who sow in tears shall reap with joyful shouting. He who goes to and fro weeping, carrying his bag of seed, shall indeed come again with a shout of joy, bringing his sheaves with him. Psalm 126, verses 5 and 6. I also am glad that a rumor of these things is heard throughout this country. Who knows? It may have a good effect on some of those who are left behind. But please, sir, while it is fresh in my mind, have you heard anything about his wife and children? Poor hearts. I've wondered often about what has become of them. Who? Mr. Sagacity asked. You mean Christiana and her sons? It looks like they will do as well as Christian did himself. For though they all played the fool at first, and in no way would be persuaded by either Christian's tears or pleas, they had second thoughts and responded wonderfully. They have already packed up and headed out after him. Better and better, I said. The news both pleased and surprised me. You mean to say his wife and children have all left destruction? Mr. Sagacity gave an earnest nod. It is true. I can tell you the whole story, every detail, for I was right there at the moment it happened, and am thoroughly acquainted with all the details of the matter. Then, since you were there, I said, you may report it for a truth. You need not have any misgivings when affirming it, Mr. Sagacity said. I mean, the fact is that they have all gone on pilgrimage, both the good woman and her 4 boys. And since we are, as I understand it, going some considerable distance together, I will give you an account of the whole matter and how it came about. His wife was called Christiana from the day she and her children took to a pilgrim's life. After her husband had gone over the river and she heard no more of him, she started pondering all that had happened. First, because she had lost her husband, and that the loving bond of that relationship was now utterly broken between them. For you know, Mr. Sagacity said to me, nature can do no less than to entertain the living with many heartfelt and heavy reflections in the remembrance of the loss of a loved one. In this way, the loss of her husband cost her many a tear, but her thoughts stirred her heart in other ways as well. Christiana began to ask herself whether her unbecoming behavior towards her husband was not one reason that she saw him no more, and that for this reason he had been taken away from her in such a manner. With these thoughts came swarms of memories of all her unkind, unnatural, and ungodly demeanor toward her dear friend and husband. These thoughts clogged her conscience and loaded her down with guilt. In the same way, she was greatly broken and distressed as she recalled all these things too, with restless groans, salty tears, and the mourning of her husband. She regretted how she had hardened her heart against all his pleas and loving persuasions, trying to get her and her sons to go with him. All the things Christian had said and done before her, while his burden hung on his back, returned to her thoughts now like a flash of lightning, rending the hold on her heart to pieces. She especially remembered that bitter outcry of his, "What shall I do to be saved?" Now his words continued to ring in her ears most dolefully. Then said she to her children, "Sons, we are all ruined. I have sinned away your father, and he is gone. He would have had us go with him, but I refused to go along. In this way, I have also hindered you from receiving true life." With that, tears fell from the boys' eyes, and they cried out that they wished to go after their father. "Oh," said Christiana, "if only it had been our lot to go with him, then perhaps it would have fared well with us, more so than what it is like now. For formerly, concerning the troubles of your father, I foolishly imagined that they were the product of a foolish notion he had, or that he was overcome with a depressed mood. Yet now I find his frame of mind was not due to foolish imaginations, for they sprang from another cause, that is to say, that the light of life was given him." Then Jesus again spake to them, saying, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." John chapter 8, verse 12. And by the help of which, as I understand now, he has escaped the snares of death. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, that one may avoid the snares of death. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 27. Then Christiana and the boys all wept again and cried out, "Oh, may trouble happen to the day!" The next night Christiana had a dream in which she saw a large parchment open before her. It held a recorded summary of her ways, and to her way of thinking, the crimes looked very black against her. She cried out aloud in her sleep, "Lord, have mercy upon me, a sinner." But the tax collector, standing some distance away, was even unwilling to lift up his eyes to heaven, but was beating his breast, saying, "God, be merciful to me, the sinner." Luke chapter 18, verse 13. And the children heard her.